Welcome back to another episode of Week in Review. This week we'll take a look at the 3.3 live build, 3.3.5 Evocati and Loreville, so let's get started on today's 6 topics. At number 6 we have the 3.3 live and 3.3.5 Evocati updates. This Friday saw the final release of 3.3 making its way to the live servers, after over 30 PTU patches were rolled out over the course of the last month. It's been a long road to get this released and stable, with OCS causing most of the major delay, but CIG are now happy with the state the game is in and are rolling it over to the PU. Chris confirmed in ATV this week that 3.3.5 is coming soon, though we don't have a firm release date for it. Now that 3.3 has been pushed out, there's room for this new patch to start rolling over to the PTU. We'll learn more over the coming week, but I wouldn't expect it to take too long if CIG want to get 3.4 out on time. We know that 3.3.5 has already rolled out to Evocati testers, and it's only a matter of time until it makes its way to the general audience. 3.4 has taken some serious hits to its feature lists, but we'll cover these in the next section. At number 5, we have the roadmap update. This week finally sees 3.3 marked off as 100% complete, with it being released to the live servers. With that out of the way, we can look to 3.3.5 and 3.4 and feature changes that we've seen. 3.3.5 made almost no progress this week, with only one task being marked off as complete. That said, the release sits at 94% completion and should hopefully see a much shorter PTU period than 3.3. 3 new tasks appeared, with OCS code conversion and OCS background spawning being added to the release, and performance optimization finding a new home in this build. Hopefully we'll see this reach PTU soon and we can update from there. 3.4 tells a different story. As mentioned in ATV, some tasks have had to be removed due to the shortening time frame caused by the 3.3 release running late. The main things to leave the release are playable female characters, Arc Corp, FPS ping and scanning, combat stealth, the Origin 300i rework, the projectile manager, and gas cloud tech. These have all been moved into 3.5, which CIG believe will be a much more realistic timeframe for them. That said, we see 2% completion added to this release, bringing us up to a 48% total. The Freelancer Durr, Anvil Hawk, Loreville Business District and Wallace Kim see progress, and we should begin to see more tasks picking up pace over the coming weeks as CIG settle in for the 3.4 release. A brief look at 3.5 sees no real progress, but the addition of many of the existing tasks from 3.4 moves us to 46% progress overall. And that's all from the roadmap this week. Progress is beginning to pick up again after the stall following CitizenCon and the 3.3 release delays, and we'll hopefully start to see more exciting things soon. At number 4, we have lore content. This week's lore content is another broadcast of Far From Home, courtesy of Old Jegger. His tale of why and how he became a drifter throughout the verse, flying from place to place in his ship, is an interesting and thought-provoking one. Many citizens might be considering this lifestyle, and it provides an interesting take on why and how a citizen might choose this life. At number 3, we have Around the Verse. This week's ATV takes a look at some of the core tech being worked on for future releases, and the current state of 3.3 and beyond. First up, Chris discusses the state of 3.3 and 3.3.5, announcing the 3.3 live release being pushed on Friday this week. He also lets us know that 3.3.5 will be coming in short order after the 3.3 release. It's been a long push, and it's taken a lot longer than CIG would have liked, but OCS was critical to get right at this stage. The bad news relates to the 3.4 release, and a number of features which have been pushed back into 3.5. The specific items which were pushed back were mentioned in the roadmap update earlier, but Chris explains why this has become the case. After a release goes live, CIG have to stabilise the main branch of code they're working on, ready for a new 3.4 release branch to be prepared for the next build. This process usually takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to do, test, stabilise and get ready for work. Since this would push the work into December and make it unlikely that the 20th of December release would be ready, CIG are instead going to pull items from the game dev branch they work in into their 3.3 branch and repurpose that for 3.4. This means that not all of the features initially planned will be moving across. It's not that they're not finished, it's the amount of work required to pull each of the files affected into the new branch. It is disheartening for many citizens to see some of these features leave the build, but CIG handled the announcement very well, and many are happy to see them sticking to their date-based release schedule. The other side of this week's ATV is the new gas cloud tech system being built out. Artists can now take simple shapes, and in the press of a few buttons it'll generate procedural clouds. It's been reducing development time from months to just weeks, and we'll see a particular benefit in Squadron 42. Artists can now drop volumetric clouds anywhere in the verse, and quickly iterate over size, colours, styles and more, adding interesting details to the verse and deepening gameplay. And that's all for ATV this week. The cloud tech looks very impressive, and it's a shame that that has been pushed back to 3.5. At number 2, we have Reverse the Verse. This RTV features another segment on building Loreville, giving us the story of how it was designed and constructed for 3.3.5. We're joined by one of the environment artists and the art director for this Q&A, and I'll cover the questions asked in this week's episode. The main building in the centre of Loreville is designed to be ever present on the skyline, dominating your view. It's the Hurston Dynamics Showcase building, and reminds you that this planet is run by the company. All of the current habs are messy, as CIG wants to give the impression that this is a lived-in and working universe. When you rent your own hab, you'll be able to keep it as clean as you like, but the current habs are all in working districts where people may be messier. The inside of the large Loreville building will be fleshed out eventually, though to what extent is currently unknown. The terrain in Loreville was a big thing for the CIG team, as it gives a real sense of how the city works and flows. It brings the city to life in a way that nothing has before. Chris was very specific about the way that this should work, and everyone is very happy with the results so far. CIG pay a lot of attention to how technology has advanced between today and the timeline Star Citizen is set in. They're aware that things in the game need to feel familiar enough that we can recognise their routing in the current day, but understand how they've moved into this sci-fi state. Tile sets are used by CIG to build bulk amounts of environments being generated dynamically. They aim for a 70-30 split between the modular sections and custom generated assets to make environments feel unique and not have entire cities full of repetitive chunks. CIG do find issues sometimes with lighting, shadows and more when building out cities. For Loreville, they had to physically move the planet in order to achieve the desired sunrise over the spaceport. Getting the feel right is very important to make the environment feel just perfect for the narrative. Weather is still being worked on and thought about, but it's going to be a mammoth amount of work, affecting how a player approaches the planet, enters the atmosphere, etc. Loreville currently has the biggest hangars ever seen in the verse to accommodate the new larger ships. The hangars were a lot of work to ensure that they're performant and preserve the high details that was desired for the ships. They needed to look good, but also reduce the amount of complexity so that that can be used to render ships. Loreville has 6 gates to allow you to enter and exit the city, and each of these has a unique personality and experience for users who find them. Loreville is planned to release in 3.3.5, which should be coming to the PTU very soon. No firm dates as of yet, but hopefully we'll have some more info following the Evocati release. And that's all for RTV this week. Loreville is looking amazing already, and I'm sure my fellow citizens are excited to get our hands on Hurston. And finally, at number 1, we have the community overview. The community remains ever excited this week, looking at the 3.3.5 Evocati leaks, creating amazing spacescape photography from the 3.3 release, and more. The general attitude tends to be appreciative towards CIG for being upfront about the coming roadmap changes, and for the ATV in which Sandy asked many questions citizens were thinking. Feedback has been positive, and let's hope that CIG can keep it up. And that's all from me for this week. Apologies for the irregular upload schedule recently, it should be back to normal from now on. Like if you liked it, get subscribed, and leave me a comment letting me know what you thought.